OpenArt. We're super excited to bring to you today Flux Kontext by Black Forest Labs. Now I have to say this model is cutting edge and frankly really impressive. There is so much to cover today, so let's jump right in and get started. Now within the model page at OpenArt, you'll see Flux Kontext right here. And I would think of it as the predecessor to the previous Flux Pro, which is still a great model, but what makes this one unique is that it's got multi-modal capabilities. Yes, it can do text-to-image generation, it's got improved prompt adherence, the same great quality as Flux Pro, but today we're going to dive more into those multimodal capabilities. So the way this works is actually really simple. On the Create page, you have your prompt box here, and right under where it says Image Guidance, you're going to see this option, Omni Reference, and that just refers to this part of the model. As I said, it's multimodal, so you have the text to image side, and I would call this sort of like chat to edit almost, but sort of on steroids. So if you click on the plus button, you'll have an option to bring in an image either by upload or history. Let's start with something simple. I'm going to drag an image of this red car here, and within the prompt box I'm simply just going to put change the car color to light blue. There's no other controls. Make sure auto enhance is off. And then you can pick your aspect ratio. In this case, I'm just going to leave it 1:1 at 1024, and we're going to create an image. And just like that, we have our image here transformed to a light blue color. It's easy, it's simple, it's quick, it's fast. Not impressed? Let me show you more. In this example, I have add a white stripe decal on the center of the car on the hood of the car. And then I have changed the setting to nighttime in a busy city with other cars and people in the environment. So you get my point. When it comes to Flux Pro, context is everything. So in these examples, you saw that context is really good at straightforward editing, simple object modification. Now, if you want to do more modifications, you have to be a bit more explicit in your prompts. However, you don't want to make it too complex or too simple. Like in this example, we have the input image here. The style is a watercolor painting. When I prompt to change to daytime, you see that it loses its style. If we take a closer look at the original, you see the brush strokes, the texture. It's really obvious it has that watercolor look. But if we switch over to this one now, you see that it's really lost that texture in that style. So to bring back that style, we have to be more specific. Change to daytime while maintaining the same style of the oil painting. This is going to be a running prompt for you, maintaining the same style of such and such. Now you can really see that the texture is very similar. It's got that nice watercolor feel, but we can also move away from simplicity and do a bit more advanced modifications. Just as long as that you don't go overboard, because there is a limit to its understanding. In this example, I was very specific on the changes I wanted to make. Change the setting to daytime at a 1950s car parked, transform to oil painting from watercolor. I even state the brush strokes, thick paint texture, while maintaining the original composition. Now on the left here, we have a woman. She's disappeared, or maybe the car ran over her. I don't know. But for the most part, it honors that original composition, even down to the little people you see inside the OpenArt, what is this, a restaurant, I guess? And although we were able to add these new details, it was just enough for the model to understand exactly what we wanted. Now you don't want to overdo it, but the more context you give your prompt, the more likely you're going to get the output that you want. So let's break this down into sections. This is going to be a very prompt heavy video, so pay attention. When we're talking about stylizing or style transfer, that can kind of veer off in different ways. In this example, I'm talking about using an input image as the reference image, but changing the style. So in a sense, we're stylizing the image. So I've got this image here of a samurai kneeling in the rain. He just had a rough battle, and the prompt is to convert it to pencil sketch with natural graphite lines, cross-hatching, and visible paper texture. Very specific look that I'm looking for here. I didn't just write, make it a sketch. So it preserves a lot of the detail, honors the prompt that I put in, therefore giving me the output that I want. Let's take the same image and give it a different context with an oil painting with visible brush strokes, thick paint texture, and rich color depth. And you can really see, especially in the background, how those details come alive, the brush strokes. I should actually show you the bigger one. Once again, honoring that reference image to the T, but if we really zoom in here, you can see the brush strokes, the texture, the detail. And that's the other thing I want to point out about this model is that it recognizes a lot more artistic styles than previous Flux models. So you can name specific styles instead of just make this art, right? And you can reference artists or movements like a Renaissance painting style or 1960s pop art, and always state what elements should change. And by the way, I'm going to give you guys this exact quick start guide. Link will be in the description. And hopefully by the time this video is out, we're going to have a really in-depth prompt guide just for Flux Kontext. So make sure to check the description below. Now, the other way we can do style transfer or stylize, whichever way you want to look at it, we can take an input image like this as the main influencer of the output. So in this case, I kept the subject the same throughout these examples. And the prompt is using this style, a raccoon, a dog, and a fox are playing poker, drinking beer, sitting around a poker table. This style is a bit Art Nouveau inspired, but as you can see, the input image highly influenced the output. And now that I'm looking at it, we see the raccoon kind of looks nude. Dude, put some clothes on. And in this example, the same output. We see the influence of the colors, the style of the reference image really come through. You can also use context to restyle existing images. So I have this as my input image, and then in the prompt I have restyle to 2D PlayStation video game. And then if your goal is to further manipulate your image, it's always best to do it in steps. So from this image, we can now use that as a reference image and then prompt for this character is now drinking coffee in a cafe. And you see the whole composition change, but it still honored the original input image, kept the style in a totally different composition. Now, sometimes when you prompt too simple, as I said previously, the model's just going to do whatever it wants. So in this case, you see my input image here, and I prompted make it a sketch, but it gave it color. I didn't want a color sketch. So I had to be more specific, give it more context. Convert to pencil sketch with natural graphite lines, cross-hatching, and visible paper texture. So I got exactly what I asked for because I was being very specific. And by doing this, this preserves the original input image in terms of composition and detail. Speaking of composition, let's talk about that quickly. In this example, you see I have the input image here and a simple prompt, he's now in a bar. Yes, it still looks like him, but notice the shift in camera angle, the position and scale shift. Very different from the input image. Looks great, but maybe not exactly what you wanted. Maybe you wanted to preserve it more. Here's another example where I put him in a bar. Again, the same thing. Those various elements shift, still honors the way he looks, but maybe not exactly what you want. So to better preserve the subject, you would prompt for something like this. Change the background to a beach while keeping the person in the exact same position, scale, and pose, maintaining identical subject placement, camera angle, framing, and perspective. So once again, you're being very specific on what to change and what not. You do have to kind of prompt for all those things. Otherwise, the model will do what it wants. And if we do a side-by-side comparison, you do still see a little bit of camera shift. You see more of his body here, but it's preserved more of the original than the other examples. And depending on the context, certain things can change. Like in this example, we have my input image here, and the prompt was to transform the person into a Viking. Kinda, sorta, gave him quite a bit of beard, still looks like him, and gave him sort of a Viking outfit. And I figured, let me just change the clothes. But now, he looks too handsome to be a Viking, right? Vikings are rugged and rough. So yeah, it gave him some so-called Viking clothing, but the background looks like, your typical city. But now, if we prompt for transforming the man into a Viking warrior while preserving his exact facial features, eye color, and facial expression, we have a more believable image here. He looks a lot more rugged than the input image while still maintaining and honoring his look. And then he's got that sort of Viking outfit. So once again, giving it more context, more details, will steer the image to the desired output. This next part I find is super valuable, especially for those of you that are chasing consistent characters. And this is termed as iterative prompt editing. Works the same way. You have your input image, and then we prompt change the weather to wintertime. As snow lightly falls, the woman with black hair is now wearing a winter coat. Let's move on to the other example. The woman with black hair is now sitting on the subway reading a book. So you're recognizing this theme. I'm specifically identifying this person with black hair. I'm not saying woman, I'm not saying the subject. I'm specifying something very specific so the model could kind of hold on to that and say, okay, I'm going to keep this person the way they are. So in a sense, you're establishing the reference. You also want to specify what that transformation is. Is it location? Is it their pose? Is it the style or the activity they're doing? So again, in this example, the woman with black hair is now driving a car in the city. Another strength of context is the ability to edit text directly. In this case, you see the sign that says create at OpenArt, and the prompt was really easy. Replace create at with join us. And then you see the correction here, and everything else is maintained. The composition, the angles might be a little bit slightly off, but for the most part, you see that it achieved exactly what I wanted. Similar experiment here where I changed imagination with creativity, but I also added more conditioning to capitalize limitless. And you see it right here. Now let me show you in action how powerful this model is. I'm going to go through maybe 2 or 3 use cases, but I'm definitely going to follow up with another video next week on more practical use cases. In any case, you see that I've imported the OpenArt logo here. And in the prompt, I simply place this logo on a soda can that sits on a table in the kitchen. The can has black and white modern wavy designs to complement the logo. As a result of that, we have this cool looking zebra-like styled pop can that says OpenArt with the logo. So if you got a logo and you want to mock up a hat, a t-shirt, some product, you can do it with Flux Kontext. Speaking of t-shirts, that's exactly what I did here. And here's the cool thing about this model. We can take everything we've learned and iterate every step of the way. So we've already gone from logo to t-shirt, and now with the reference image as the t-shirt, we can prompt for a woman wearing it with jeans walking in the city. You don't even need a model. And as a result, I have a woman here wearing the OpenArt t-shirt and jeans. Oh, but wait, there's more. We could take that same image of the woman wearing the OpenArt t-shirt as a reference, and now I want her to wear a blue dress playing the violin at a concert. Notice how it keeps the likeness of her face. She's now wearing a blue dress in a totally different composition. Oh, you say that maybe she's lonely and she needs a boyfriend? Let's do that too. We'll keep her in a blue dress, posing in front of the camera with her boyfriend wearing a suit. And just like that, she's no longer lonely. She has a boyfriend. But I think you get my point. We can recycle, reiterate, try different prompts, different aspect ratios and compositions, starting with one image. Now, as a teaser, as I said in the previous video, I have a follow-up video on consistent characters. And one of the challenges I've had, and I know you've had them too, getting consistency with complex attire. And this is one of my training images that I've been using for this character. And I would say the success rate out of like 10 images, I might get 2 or 3 that are usable, that have her exact outfit, or at least close to it, that I can work with. Now with Flux Kontext, this makes it so much easier now. I took that very image and did exactly what we just talked about, put her in the subway, brought her to a restaurant here eating what could be ramen or something. But the straps, the arm guards here, this unique upper sleeve was very hard to do just with standard training. It gets it every time. And then I have her here walking her wolf dog. Again, the outfit is exactly the same. Now the belt changes a little bit, but it's a lot closer than what I was getting before. I'm not going to get into all the details about how we can use this for character consistency, but I think you can figure it out on your own, but I do have some more tricks up my sleeve. My friends, there is so much more to cover on Flux Kontext. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or if you have any questions. Once again, don't forget to check out the quick start guide and look for the link to the official prompt guide for Flux Kontext. And if you think this is exciting, better hang around for a bit. That's all I'm gonna say. Make sure to check out these videos if you haven't already. Until the next one, my friends, happy creating.